Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. I have a nice cup of tea that is warming my hands but is actually too hot to drink right now, so I'm just gonna cuddle up with it. But yes, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hi, my name is Emma. I'm an illustrator. This channel is all about my illustration journey, and yeah, this is my first video of 2020. So I thought we'd talk about New Year's resolutions and like goal setting, which yeah is a topic that I really love. I love kind of listening to like podcasts and sort of like self-help books and those type of things. And I've recently just read a book called The 12-Week Year, which I'm really excited about. I think it's going to kind of up my goal setting level, as it were. And yeah, so I thought I would share the goals that I've got and talk a bit about that, because yeah, I think the tips in it are really helpful and I think it might help some of you as well. So I'm a person who loves goal setting, and I love the new year and how it can make you feel like there's just so many different possibilities and you can like start afresh and yeah, just start with like a clean slate. And I don't know about you, but I tend to be somebody who gets really excited like at the beginning of the new year, and I'll set all these goals, get quite sort of ambitious, and then as the year goes on I'll probably either forget about the goal or like realise it was a little bit too tricky, or I'll just, I don't know, just get a little bit sidetracked and not really do the thing that I was planning on doing. And then of course it gets to sort of around November and December and you're thinking, oh, I haven't done that thing, and either like rush to try and finish it or think, oh, I'll just start something new in the new year, and like the cycle continues. So I think I've actually found the solution to completing my goals, which I've got from the book The 12-Week Year. And if you don't know, the basic concept from that book is that instead of making your goals at the beginning of the year and then forgetting about them throughout the year, you actually condense your year into just 12 weeks, which I think this is a brilliant idea because often people don't use the whole of the year to work on their goals anyway. And personally, I find that if I have a really like tight deadline, I actually kind of work better and I'm usually a bit more focused and I end up getting more done. Let me know if like your brain works like that as well. So here are some of the key takeaways from the book, and yeah, I'm also going to be sharing the goals that I've set myself for the next 12 weeks as well. So number one is the reason why you're not reaching your goal isn't necessarily because your ideas aren't any good, it's because you're not following through with them. And yeah, this was a main theme in the book, that you know, coming up with the ideas, the plans, the resolutions is kind of like the fun, easy part, and actually doing the work, like surprise, surprise, is like the hard bit. Often we sort of make the mistake of thinking, oh, I didn't achieve that goal, therefore my idea was wrong, but sometimes it's that we didn't actually do what we set out to do in the first place. For example, one of my goals that I want to do for the next 12 weeks is just to be a bit like healthier and fitter like in my body. So one of the things I want to do is I want to do regular exercise, and I also want to eat more like whole plant foods. So I'm vegan anyway, but I think I need to kind of focus more on like the whole food rather than like the processed food. Not to say I'm gonna give up like chocolate and stuff completely, but I'm just going to try and focus more on, you know, the good stuff that I should be eating. We kind of know what we should be doing to reach these goals, but in between planning it and actually trying to do it, it can, you know, that's when it starts to get a bit hard, and then we think, was this a good idea in the first place? And then we kind of abandon it. In the book, there is this thing called the emotional cycle of change, and there are 5 different phases, and this just makes me laugh because I can relate to it so much. But yeah, so phase 1 is uninformed optimism, and I have been there. This is where you're really excited about a project, but you haven't actually done it yet. And yeah, you don't really know what you're doing. Phase 2 is a little bit depressing because it is informed pessimism. This is when you realise, like, oh, actually this thing is going to be really tricky. Yeah, it just turns out to be harder than you imagined. And then comes phase 3, which is the valley of despair, which I think is something that we have all kind of experienced, where it's not going to plan. And then when you get to this point, you have a couple of options. You can either give up and, you know, pick something nice and new and shiny and, you know, start again from phase 1, or you can kind of push through it. And then the encouraging thing is that if you do push through it, you then get to phase 4, informed optimism, and then phase 5, which is success. I've actually found it really helpful to learn about this cycle because, one, it kind of makes you realise that this is like a universal problem that people have, and it's not something that's just kind of personal to me. But if you realise that it's kind of how everybody is wired to a certain extent, yeah, it just makes it easier to deal with. And I think it can be empowering to sort of have that knowledge that, you know, at some point down the line things might get difficult, but that actually if you do keep pursuing what you're doing and if you're persistent, then it will pay off. Takeaway number 2 is that you need to be really specific with the kinds of tactics and strategies that you're going to use to achieve your goals. And I think often myself and probably other people can be quite vague when we set a goal. So for example, the goal might be to read more, but if that's not something that you regularly do and it's not like a habit that you have in place, and you don't say how you're going to read more, then it might just not happen. You might either forget or just you might find it hard to like fit in to your day. So unless you know what the kind of step-by-step process is, that thing might not actually happen. What the book suggests to do is to have your goal and then write down all the tactics that you're going to do throughout that 12-week process. So for example, one of my goals that I want to do is to grow my Etsy shop and to get more sales in my Etsy shop. So some of the tactics I'm going to do is, 1, create more products, because if I have more products in my shop, that will mean there'll be stuff for people to buy, and hopefully it will attract more customers as well. I also want to take amazing photographs and also promote myself consistently on like Instagram and all the social media platforms. And I think having a list of all the different tactics that you're going to do can be really useful, because it just gives you like a step-by-step guide on what it is that you need to do. Then you're not like sort of questioning what should I do next. You've already like made that decision, and yeah, you're just following through with it. Yeah, here is something that I've been working on for my Etsy shop, which is actually going to be a mug. So that's why it's in this long strip, and it's borrowers themed. So if you know the book The Borrowers, I've drawn Ariete twice. As you can see, I haven't quite finished it because I haven't drawn her face in on that section. But yes, this is very nearly done, and then I will order some samples for my shop, and yeah, I'll show you that when I get them. Takeaway 3 is to have weekly plans and weekly reviews. So I thought that I already did a weekly plan because I would, you know, write everything that I needed to get done in that week. But in the 12-week plan, they talk about the difference between a weekly plan and a to-do list, and the two things are not the same. So your weekly plan should come from that 12-week plan where you wrote down the list of all the tactics. And so you're not creating new things, you're just thinking, these are all the things I want to get done in 12 weeks. Okay, so week 1 I will do this. Then you want a separate to-do list, which I think is a great idea because it actually allows you to kind of focus on what is important and not get sidetracked with all the kind of like loads of little things. I really like the idea of having them on separate lists, just so you can kind of see like the clear direction that you're going in. So each week you review the last week and you score yourself based on how many of the tasks and tactics that you completed. So you're measuring your success on what you've done, which I think is great because all of those things are in your control and you're not sort of measuring it based on how many likes you get or something that is out of your control. And once you've done your review, you then plan for the next week and it just carries on like that. Takeaway number 4 is don't pick too many goals at once. This is something that is really hard for me, and I have picked 3 goals. Some people might think this is too many, but 2 of these are art related, but I've also have like a life one as well. So I have got being healthier and fitter, that's number 1. Number 2 is to grow my Etsy shop and have more sales on my Etsy shop. And then number 3 is to complete the picture book that I'm working on. And yeah, if you've been on my channel, you would have seen that I've done some character development for that. But I would really love to kind of get the majority of that done within the next 12 weeks. Yeah, so those are my goals. Let me know whether you would like an update at the end of the 12 weeks or whether you'd like a sort of big like update at the end of the year where I will have had hopefully more goals that I've set myself as well. I hope you found this video useful. Let me know if you've set yourself any resolutions or goals and whether you set your goals at the beginning of the new year or whether you just set your goals throughout the year as and when you feel like it. I hope you're enjoying your creative journey wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video.